The wildfire situation in Western Canada is growing more dire. Manitoba is under a state of emergency as fires spread. About 17,000 people are under orders to evacuate. It is the province's largest mass evacuation in recent memory. This footage is from the wildfire threatening Flin Flon on the border with Saskatchewan. Firefighters made a dramatic escape from the flames. The video was shot just across the border in Saskatchewan, and that's where the fire started. The fire is now endangering communities in both provinces. And the CBC's Mark Carcassole is tracking this story for us. Okay, so what's the latest development on the wildfire situation?
Well, that alert in Manitoba came out around 5:30 local time yesterday. Many of the people, particularly in Flin Flon, will be driving 8-9 hours if they decide to go to Winnipeg as directed for shelter. Officials are not quite sure how many will actually do that. Many might pull over some way, part way through to stay with friends or family, or instead. They're likely not going to get hotel accommodation, as it sounds as though all the hotels throughout the region in between the two are pretty much booked out at this point. And this is why Premier Canoe has asked anyone who has a large space that can be utilized in and around Winnipeg to house people in the meantime from Flin Flon to please step up, pitch in. You will be called upon to do so. So be ready for that call, and he's hoping that everyone will say yes. He says that this will be the largest evacuation Manitoba will have seen in most people's living memory there. 17,000 people, as you mentioned, Arthi. The majority of evacuees headed to Winnipeg, but not all of them. We'll get to that in a moment. In terms of the Flin Flon evacuation, you're talking about 5,000 residents, and the fire is now about 20,000 hectares in size. So keeping a close eye on it. Manitoba Premier Canoe on the National yesterday says that there are a lot of resources required here because they're dealing with a lot of people, not just in Flin Flon, but across Manitoba. So they're working closely with the federal government on this.
Flin Flon is a well-known community to many, so you're talking about 5,000 people in the city proper, maybe 6,000 counting some of the surrounding cottage areas and other homes in the region, who just like that were ordered to leave their homes, to pack what they needed, and to head here to Winnipeg. At the same time, some really large First Nations community within that same window of time also had to make the call to evacuate, and so we ran that up the chain to the Prime Minister and the federal government, and of course coordinating with local municipalities, First Nations, us as a province. That's how we're working together.
Those First Nations communities that Premier Canoe spoke of include Pimichkamak Cree Nation, Cross Lake and Puckatawagan Cree Nation. Now, you heard Premier Canoe talk about working with the federal government, the possibility of the armed forces getting involved, because you need air support in a situation like this to get people moving across the province. There's just too much fire, too much smoke to do this all using vehicular transport. We've just got word that the first CAF plane has now arrived in Pimichkamak Cree Nation. It's expected to fly out of there the first 90 or so primary, the top of scale evacuees that need to get out there. So that work is now underway. The Army is getting involved in all of this. But in amongst all this and all these other areas, including Lynn Lake, which is still the subject of evacuation, 600 residents there, 17,000 people in total, many of them First Nations, many of them from the Métis Nation. And the Manitoba Métis Federation president spoke to News Network earlier today. He worries about many of those evacuees and the long-term effects all of this is going to have, the stress, the smoke, and everything else involved.
Some people will come out of this with some serious issues, especially our seniors, that the stress will be driving too hard for them. It happened to my mom years ago when she was forced to leave base of fire. She wasn't the same after that. So it's really difficult and challenging.
We will be keeping an eye on this throughout the afternoon, and Premier Canoe is expected to give an update later on today. He will be attending a news conference. It's unrelated to the wildfires, but you can expect that he will be asked about it, and we'll speak about it, so we'll get the latest there.
Thank you for this, Mark. That is the CBC's Mark Carcassole reporting for us. As you heard, Pimichkamak Cree Nation is northern Manitoba, is one of the communities trying to get people out. An evacuation order is in place there. So for more on this, we've reached Ryan Castell. He is Pimichkamak Cree Nation's incident commander. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
First, you're on the ground there. Can you describe for us what it's like?
Right now, it's back and forth. It was really smoky this morning, and now it's starting to clear up with a little smoke. And we evacuated about 5,000 people to Norway House yesterday. So we have a dilemma over there. They were prepared for about 1,000, and then we had to quickly and in a rush send all our people out to over there where it's safe, because the smoke and wildfire were approaching our community from multiple directions, and we were told to get out while we can. We had an hour and a half window to do that, and then situation developed in Norway House. It's a ferry community, and our people ended up lining up to get across for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. Some people had to come back, and putting us in a situation, because our 373 has fires crossing all along that road near us, and we can't go head anywhere south or escape to Brandon, Winnipeg, Thompson because of that. Our only road out, Highway 373, has fire on both sides in some areas. So
now, Ryan, I wanted to ask you, as the incident commander, you mentioned that the evacuees, it was 5 times the number that you were expecting. How did that go? What is the situation now when you've got 5,000 individuals as opposed to 1,000?
Yeah, we had to send everyone out to Norway House. We've been preparing for a week, and all of a sudden we were watching the fires with Wildfire Manitoba. And Norway House was prepared for about 1,000 people, but we had to send everyone there. And now they're in. People are complaining and wanting to come back, because there's not enough cots for people and children in arenas and at the school over there.
And what's the situation in the community? Is it safe for people to come back yet? How high is the risk at this stage?
The risk is extremely high. People can't come back, but some people don't have a choice. They can't sleep anywhere in Norway House. It looks calm right now, but the fire will pick up as it heats up and continue heading this way. And it's all over our Highway 373, and it's also endangering our power. There's a Genpeg Dam. The airport was on fire last night, so that structure, if it's damaged by heat and fire, we will lose power, and that includes Norway House and Cross Lake.
This must be an incredibly stressful time for you and the community. How unusual is it for the community to deal with this at this extreme level right now?
Well, we've had a previous experience in 2023, similar date. We had to evacuate the full community, so we have some experience, and we're more prepared and able to plan better. But still, wildfire is unpredictable and goes all over the place. Yesterday evening, we had the RCMP and Wildfire go check our 373, and they went through the smoke and fire, and at one point the fire crossed, and then it came back over the road, and it crossed again. They're saying that rank 6 fires create their own weather and wind and stuff like that. So we've been at the highest level for our fire for a few days.
We've heard certainly that there are resources from other provinces that are trying to aid with fighting the fires, as well as Canadian Armed Forces resources. How helpful is that, and what more does the community need right now?
We need to get more people out of Norway House. I'm concerned for our people there. I'm trying to go help the management team over there today. Take a couple of teams and go help out with our evacuees. And the wildfire staff were pulled out from. We have 2 fires. There's one within a couple of miles from us, and the firefighters on the ground control that. But this fire 5, which is huge and had burned out of control for a week or more, is approaching Winnipeg and our highway and has crossed it and threatening our community. So those firefighters were pulled out of our number 6 fire, which is closer to us, but it's no flames there. They managed to control it, but nothing can be done with this fire approaching because it's huge and crowning and going this way and that way, unpredictable.
Well, Ryan, we certainly hope everyone remains safe in the community and to where they have now evacuated. We appreciate your time and you explaining the situation from the ground there.